So I found this guy who his YouTube handle is Patrick and then in brackets H and then Willems with an E, not an IA. And he was doing a YouTube video about Michael Bay as an auteur and how Michael Bay is really good. And I thought he might be a bright guy. He made some good points. In retrospect, I realized that, and before I even discovered this thing that I'm watching right now, I realized though that what he was saying didn't really make sense. He was praising the cinematography of Michael Bay, but ignoring the fact that his stories sucked. So then I went and I've been watching this other video that he made called Patrick Explains Star Wars The Last Jedi and Why It's Great. He says that right off the bat, he says that Star Wars is about space wizards intended for children. And I'm thinking, if it's intended for children, then nobody should be surprised if adults don't like it. And why does he like Star Wars then? And are children idiots? That's always been my argument. If you use that excuse, then you're implying that children are idiots, they're stupid, and you can just give them garbage and they'll eat it. You obviously don't like children very much or respect them very much. Then he mentions how Luke says that the Jedi should end, and he says that Luke makes a good point, and maybe the Jedi suck. Maybe they were wrong about a lot of things, and the galaxy would be better without them. And I think that how much of a Star Wars fan can this guy be if he doesn't like the Jedi? If he thinks the Jedi suck? If he thinks the Sith suck? Darth Vader sucks. I mean, what's left if you get rid of all that stuff? And I'd hate to see what other movies this nerd thinks are great if he likes The Last Jedi and he likes Michael Bay movies. This guy scares me. This movie, he says this movie is about moving on from the past. And I'm thinking, well then, why not change the title to something other than Star Wars? Why use the original Star Wars music? Why include Luke at all? Why make sequels since they depend on the past? He says that The Last Jedi moves forward. And I'm like, how? By shitting on the past? Just because you chop down a tree doesn't mean you're planting another one. Just because you burn a bridge doesn't mean you're building a new one. Just because you burn your house down doesn't mean you're building a new house. And in fact, maybe you're just burning down your house and that's all you've done. This movie does not move forward. It stagnates. Oh, and this is wonderful. He says that Star Wars has always been about being weird, and The Last Jedi lives up to that. And then he says that the cow milking, when Luke milks the alien, that's one of his favorite parts in the whole movie. So I'm thinking this guy is either pulling my leg or he really is an idiot. Then he says that if you don't like that scene, then you have boring taste and he doesn't want to be friends with you. He's certainly trying to offend, but I do think he believes the shit that he's saying, because based on his other review, you wouldn't spend this much time on this stuff unless you believed it, because he is trying to get a reaction, but you wouldn't do all this work on something you don't even believe, because it's not that clever. So I have boring taste. You have boring taste if you don't want to see Luke Skywalker breastfeeding from a cow. No, that's good taste. You don't have bad taste if you don't want to see. He says that it's great the way Leia used the Force, because it's good to know that she used the Force and trained during the last 30 years. I agree with that, but the thing is, my issue is I didn't want to see Leia look so stupid like Mary Poppins. It was just so ridiculous and silly looking. I'm starting to think that this guy is a nerd who has no real, he doesn't get a lot of attention from people, so he picks a contrary belief just to get attention because it's shocking. I've met people who do this. They'll argue the stupidest point in the world and they'll actually believe it because they know they'll get lots of attention from people. They'll say that a movie that everybody else loves is shit, even though it's obviously great, just because, there'll be the one person that hates Infinity War and they actually believe they hate it, and maybe they do. But the reason that they hate it is because it makes them feel special. They choose beliefs the same way a 16-year-old chooses a certain dress style, or chooses to, dress like a rocker if they're going to an all punk school, or they dress like a punk if they're in a rocker school. They just want to be rebels. So their identity is behind their beliefs more than logic is. He keeps saying that The Last Jedi moves forward from the past rather than the other movies, or especially The Force Awakens, but he has yet to get into any specifics about how The Last Jedi moves forward. If anything, again, it stagnates to me. Every character goes nowhere. Every character basically sits there for the whole movie. Leia, Finn, Luke. Luke almost literally sits there. In fact, just when you think Luke isn't sitting there, you find out he really is sitting there, because he didn't actually go to the planet. And then he says that he doesn't want to go on about... He could go on for like an hour about how immaculately crafted the character arcs are. But I'd love to hear that, but he doesn't want to go on about that part. And he keeps going on about how he feels sorry for you if you don't understand all the things he's talking about, how he weeps for you, and he keeps repeating that it's a movie about space wizards for children. He's trying to provoke a reaction. He was at first, until I realized he was trying to do that, and now I just see him as a nerd trying to provoke a reaction. So I'll just criticize the actual points he's making. Oh, and then he says, although the movie presents Kylo Ren's point of view that the past should be destroyed, it doesn't endorse it. I would say that it does endorse it. That would be by Luke Yoda burning books, or having every plot point killed. Kylo Ren's mask being destroyed. Snoke dying. And this guy loves saying that this movie is moving everything forward. It's moving forward rather than living in the past. But by killing every plot thread, you're also preventing everything from moving forward. Nobody's excited about Episode 9. Everything's gone. He didn't give us anything. Again, he burnt down the house and did not start building a new one. Then he says that Yoda comes right out and states the theme, being that failure is the greatest teacher. And first of all, Rey never learns anything. That's one of the main problems with the whole thing. Secondly, I don't see how failure being the best teacher was ever the theme of this movie. It was not prominent in any of the storylines. Was that going on Canto Bight? Then he says that Finn has the best arc out of everybody. He learns the most. And that his favorite part is when he declares himself to be rebel scum. That was his favorite part in the movie. I want to see if he says another part is his favorite part of the movie, if he keeps wobbling on what his favorite part of the movie was, because it seems like he is. I think I'm done with this guy. I keep thinking, am I missing something? Is this tongue-in-cheek? But all the comments are from people that like The Last Jedi, so I don't think that he's, doing a parody. And now he's just boring. So I think I'm pretty done. I'm going to try to watch the rest of it. But on that note, I have yet to meet anybody who loved The Last Jedi, who had anything intelligent to say, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they loved it except for this doorknob. But even him, like, doesn't have one argument that convinces me even remotely. I think my final verdict on this guy is that he's a very boring, very average person who is very confused about who he is, doesn't know what he thinks, doesn't know the difference between what's good and what's bad, places cinematography, not only does he place cinematography above story, he thinks the cinematography is the story, which is why he likes Michael Bay. He has no understanding of story whatsoever. he uses a lot of multi-syllabic words and makes references to different styles of cinema, so he must be a film student. I think he's a filmmaker as well. He seems like one of those people who I've already come across many times in real life, who go to art school and they're just as pretentious as they possibly can be, and it's mainly a show to get attention, but it's never about an actual genuine love of art. It's really it's the shallowest type of love of art. And this answers a lot of my questions about the type of person who likes The Last Jedi, because this is the type of person. Well, it's one type of person that loves The Last Jedi, and it also gives me insights into how the mind works of a very average, attention craved wannabe artist. Not even a wannabe artist, because in order to want to be an artist, you have to like art in the first place. A wannabe attention getting dork. Yeah, okay, so that's it. And one more thing, I've watched a couple short films he's made. They're always comedy. He made one that was about Tommy Wiseau as Batman, which was funny mainly because it had a great actor playing Tommy Wiseau. And then he made another one that was about if the Avengers was directed, or if the X-Men was directed by Wes Anderson. And it was very well done, but it wasn't very clever. So yeah, I don't think this person has any talent, but he does put a lot of work into his films, and they're not bad. They're like, I guess, good. He'll never achieve anything great in life. He has 250,000 viewers on YouTube, which is incredible. So good for him. And I guess that's about it.